Well, okay, it's basically been a dream end to a magnificent career of James Anderson that's lasted for round about more than
21
21
years.
years. And from what we saw was who came on the international scene was an 18 or a 19-year-old who started with a 5-wicket haul against Zimbabwe, and now what he has achieved all across the not just Test cricket but even in ODIs and T20s is nothing short of being dream.
James Anderson, GOAT pacer. I mean, let's be very honest about it. When he took Mark Vermeulen's wicket, the first wicket that he took with an inducker, you knew that he was special. And after that wicket of Mark Vermeulen, the final international wicket that he took, 704, was, if I'm not mistaken, Joshua Da Silva with a brilliant delivery. So that's why it's the end for James Anderson's international career. He will end with 704 wickets. You can say that yes, he's four behind Shane Warne. Ends with a total of 704 plus 269, 991 wickets overall. And it is a legendary career indeed. Because look at what James Anderson's achieved. Two decades when you look at it. Simply the gold standard when it came to pace bowling. Everybody is saying Clouderson, no way. I think I'll be doing a special video on certain stats, the final moments. He got a guard of honor when he came. West Indies couldn't do that because already it was too late for it. When James Anderson came out today, everybody were praying, please, let us just see a Jimmy special one more time. He could have gotten 705, but he spilled a return chance that Gudakesh Murthy had presented him with. So that's why Joshua Da Silva remains his final wicket. And then if you look at it, Mark Vermeulen to Joshua Da Silva. What a journey it's been for
Well,
Jimmy.
one of the best things that has been about James Anderson's Test career is that he literally got better with age. And starting from 2011, when India visited England, and not to mention they suffered a 4-0 drubbing but from there on, I think the Anderson, the bowler, he joined the party. And even before that, also even the 2010 in the 11 Ashes when he did really well in the Australian conditions. The best part what happened about Anderson's career was that he got better even in the Asian conditions also, specifically where he used to struggle a lot, not just in India, Sri Lanka, and even in Bangladesh also. That's where I think from that holistic perspective, what it clearly goes on to show that he played more, he got better, and even being there till the age of 40 and 41 until he was, I would say, forced to retire because they want to unearth that young blood
Future
for
talent,
the
yeah.
for the Ashes, or maybe even the more important series that they have.
What a future talent they have unearthed, because Gus Atkinson, 12 wickets on debut, 7 wickets in the previous in the innings, and now 5 here. It's ensured that England have won by an innings and 114 runs at Lords. But the focus rightly and should be on Jimmy Anderson. I think we all saw Jimmy Anderson's special 2.0. I think I would personally look at it from 2008, especially against New Zealand. Against New Zealand, you remember he produced 2 deadly balls. One, I think it was to Aaron Redmond, and then to Jamie Howe.
That was basically the end of the two of England's stalwarts in Test cricket, Matthew Hoggart and Stephen Harmison. Yes.
And then you had the good duo of Anderson and Stuart Broad stepping in. And that's why, ever since that period, you look at it, what was the key factor behind England's 24-year jinx which ended in the Ashes? It was Jimmy Anderson.
Absolutely.
Who was the key factor behind ending a 28-year jinx in India? It was Jimmy Anderson, along with the two spin twins of Monty Panesar and Graham Swan. So 109 teammates. He's played with 109 teammates, starting from Mark Butcher all the way now to Shoaib Bashir. Now, as far as Anderson's longevity is concerned, the oldest when James Anderson made his debut was Chris Wokes at the age of 14, followed by Joe Root and then by Ben Stokes. The youngest of them all, Shoaib Bashir, was not even born. That is the generational gap that is there. So that's why it is a truly great testament to Anderson, the pacer. And he will be missed because you look at it, that seam position, the wrist, that action. Classical, beautiful, lovely to watch.
And not to forget the 90 odd against India in 2014.
81.
Yeah, 81.
He was a very good bat, and until 2009, ever since he started batting from 2003, he was not actually dismissed for a duck.
Yes.
After that, when he was dismissed for a duck against Australia and Leeds, After that, his batting was, and remember, short ball, he would be just fending it and then he would be out. Just ask Mitchell Johnson, who exploited. What a rivalry those two had.
Anderson and Broad were basically the different tail enders post the Mitchell Johnson era.
Yes, absolutely. So that's why, if you look at it, Australia might heave a sigh of relief. Other teams in English conditions, in particular, they'll heave a sigh of relief that one of the best swing bowlers in this modern era, his time is done at this point. You can see that there'll be a lot of emotional scenes, a lot of post-match thing about James Anderson, and there was a guard of honor. His daughters had rung the bell yesterday on day 2. So very, very emotional thing. And yes, it is the end of an era. I mean, let's look at it now. The total of 800 wickets, 708 wickets. I'll stick my neck out and say it will never ever be broken.
Absolutely, the way the cricket is progressing, and obviously a lot of players or a lot of bowlers specifically opting to become T20 mercenaries. That way, I think the record of James Anderson's of more than 900 international wickets, it might just stay on for a long and long time. In fact, I think it might just be the.
It'll be like Bradman's 99.94.
Yeah,
I think no one's
absolutely.
breaking that. So Murali's 800. Shane Warne, the late great Shane Warne, his 708 wickets remains intact. And that's why James Anderson won 88 matches, 704 wickets, 26 average, with 32 5-wicket hauls and 3 10-wicket hauls time on his career. And I, for one, am saddened because he was one of the few English players that I would like. I mean, there is Alistair Cook and Joe Root in that list who are very, very likable. But Anderson, yes, he would be public enemy number 1 against Australia. But apart from that, some spells. What is the most famous spell that you can recollect, Sid, before we wind up, of Jimmy Anderson?
I think one of the spells that's not really talked about but should be talked about was because that game featured the double century of Kevin Peterson. Is the match between Australia and England, the Ashes, the second test between Australia and England, 2010-11. Because there was a time when Australia were basically reduced to 4 for 2 or 4 for 3, and it was primarily because of James Anderson. He might not have got that Man of the Match award, but he was one of the main reasons why Australia, specifically in the Adelaide conditions where they are used to being superior, were really bowled out for an under par total, and that basically began the great journey for England, who went on to win the Ashes 3-1 way back in 2010-11.
Exactly. For me, my best spell, if I have to look at it, was against Australia, Trent Bridge 2013. 10 wickets.
Yes.
Swing seam. I think that one delivery.
So you're talking about that Brad Haddin test.
Yes. I'm talking about that one ball that he bowled to Michael Clark. I think it seamed in, straightened. Clark played on it, top of Austin.
Yes.
That is why. That was GOAT peak James Anderson. And we have got some comments which we can take. Aditya Karkare, yes, he the total tribute, 21 years, 188 tests, 704 wickets. Absolute champion. Thank you, Jimmy. And then there's one more thing. Once Jain, true great of the game, such pure career will not come again, and he follows it up. 100 years, James Anderson, we considered the bowler comparison of Sir Bradman.
Ever since he was being left out of England's ODI squad post the 2015 debacle, I think he still went on to play for a good 9 years. That shows,
Fantastic. I mean,
longevity.
there will never be another pacer like James Anderson. And see, only pacer to get to 700 wickets. If you look at the top 4, Murali, spinner. Warne, spinner. Kumble, spinner.
And he's the only one.
He's the only pacer.
And even after beyond him also, there's
Glenn
McGrath is 563. Then Ashwin is also catching him.
Nathan Lyon. Then you got Courtney Walsh. You got Courtney Walsh at this point in time.
Yes.
Yeah, he needed 5. Dhanush needed 5 to go past, but some things don't happen. Jimmy prioritized Test cricket over money.
I think ECB prioritized Test cricket over anything because post the 2015 World Cup, the goal was clear that you want to have different bowlers for different formats, and that's what they primarily had.
So we will just sum it up by saying what freaking awesome saying. An unbelievable career.
Absolutely.
An unbelievable career. So that's why sad to see Jimmy go, but certain good things must come to an end. Thank you, Jimmy, for all the memories.
Like Brendan McCullum now.
Of course. I mean, you deserve a farewell on your own terms, starting at Lords, ending at Lords. Only Sachin Tendulkar would have got that kind of a farewell.
Yeah.
And talking about Sachin Tendulkar, who did Sachin Tendulkar get troubled the most? Jimmy Anderson. So that's about it. We'll be back with a lot more stories and tributes of James Anderson on Sports Today. So stay tuned and tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. Don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And don't forget to download the Sports Talk mobile app. Bye bye.